So it's Saturday night, I guess technically Sunday morning. It's a little late, but it's quiet down here. So this gives me an opportunity to put this together. Clearly sitting in front of my computer. We have not yet closed on the property that you just saw. But if you're seeing this, then we have closed on the property because this video will follow the announcement. It seems that all of the paperwork is in order, and so we should close probably within the next couple of days. And what that means is that I've got a fairly narrow window of opportunity to get this done. So what I thought I would do is show you just where the property is and what its layout is and all of the rest, and perhaps discuss some of the virtues of the property, some of the things that we saw in it that intrigue us and excite us. And I alluded to it, we alluded to some of those in the announcement video, but I'll probably pick up on them again. So 2.5 years ago, when we sent all of the students home from college for spring break, and then COVID became such a problem that folks really began to shut down. This was the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, if you remember that. We sent the students home, and the 1 week spring break became 2 weeks, and then the college just said, to heck with it, you guys stay home. And faculty, you figure out a way to teach them from a distance. And that was a challenge, let me tell you. Well, one of the classes that I was teaching was a research methods, kind of a statistics class. We used a lot of data and statistical analysis packages. Actually, I used a lot of Excel, to be honest, to make that work. But the instruction meant that I needed to show students how to use Excel, how to import data sets and clean the data sets and put them into formats where the data cell could, or Excel could use that data to produce some sort of analyses. And so I found a software package that enabled me to do that, and it's just been sitting on my computer ever since. It's wonderful stuff, and it was a lifesaver for me, at least in terms of that class. My other classes, I went out into the greenhouse with a camera and set it up. I was in the greenhouse because this was in March in Central Virginia, and it was cold, but it was really kind of nice in the greenhouse, and it was quiet, and I could just sit and kind of lecture at the camera. But for the statistical stuff, I had to have the computer and had to have the students see the computer. So I'm going to switch over, and I'm going to share my computer screen with you, and I'm going to show you the property that way, and we'll talk through it. I should point out that the scruff is coming a little back. When I shaved, I talked about that and how Patti seemed to like the idea of the beard and all of the rest. This is, when I said that today is Saturday, now technically Sunday, it's the first week of November now the 5th, and that means it's Movember. And so this is the first month that, since Movember has been a thing, that I've really been able to celebrate it by actually growing a mustache. And so I figured I'd kind of let all of this come in, and then I'll probably hang on to it through December and January and cut it all off again. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, let me show you the property. So this is the third time that I've made this video. The other 2 times I've just gotten rather long-winded. So I'm going to try and make this a good bit more brief. Today is Wednesday, November 8th, and we just got in touch with our realtor, and she says that it looks like the closing's going to happen after the weekend, probably on Monday. So as I'm making this video, we haven't bought this property yet, but when you're seeing this video, since it follows the video that reveals the news, we will have closed on it. And what you're looking at here on the screen is clearly a map of Puerto Rico. This comes from the property registry office in Puerto Rico, known as CRIM. Largely rectangular, roughly rectangular island. Up here, this big gray blob is, of course, San Juan and its environs. Let's see, the airport would be here, and as I recall, about half of the island's population lives in sort of greater San Juan. The second largest city on the island is Ponce, and that's right here on the south coast. And the third largest city, and I believe the second oldest city in Puerto Rico, is Mayagüez. And Mayagüez is right here in the middle of the west coast, and we live below Mayagüez, right here in the southwest part of the island. This is the municipality. In each of these little divisions here is called a municipality. We live in the municipality of Cabo Rojo, which means Red Cape. This is Boquerón Bay, and we live below Boquerón Bay in the town of Combate. And I'll scroll in, and it'll take a moment for the resolution to clear, for everything to pop in. Here we go. And here you see all of the property divisions here. Now, we live in a townhouse, in a townhouse complex known as Camino del Mar. And as I scroll in a little bit more, we'll see it. It's right here. So this is Camino del Mar. I think I can get one closer. There we go. And I'm sitting in number 20, which is this one right here, almost all the way at the end of Camino del Mar in the town of Combate. And I'll scroll out a little bit more just to keep this moving along. And there's the Caribbean. So in the morning, if I want to go for a walk and walk along the beach, I'll come out of the door down to the main road here, which is 3301, down half a mile to Annie's Place, which is a restaurant here right at the end of 3301. And that begins really kind of the north part of Combate Beach, of Playa Combate. Scrolling out a bit more, one more, I guess. Combate Beach runs for about 2 miles, and I'll walk all the way down to the beach to about this point, and then back and home again. So the round trip's about 5 miles. So when I have said to friends and family and others that we're pretty much in the southwest corner of Puerto Rico, we're pretty much in the southwest corner. And the property that we just bought is also in the municipality of Cabo Rojo, but it is outside of the town of Combate. Where is it? Well, here's the line between Cabo Rojo and the next municipality, which is known as Lajas, and our property is right here. And this region is known as Pitahaya. So to get there, it's about a 7-mile drive. As the crow flies, you're looking at maybe 4 miles. So we're really not too far from our townhouse here. So that's great. We have a good base of operations here while we're clearing and building on our property at Pitahaya. So as I scroll in, the property lines will pop back in for us. Right here is the access road. It's paved, at least up to about this point here, which is fine for us. It's a 1-lane road, but it is a calle sin salida. It is a dead-end street, so there's not a lot of traffic along it. As you go down the road, you might encounter another car, maybe. And you just find a place to scoot over, and they scoot over, and you're fine. It's a little potholed, but yeah, it's not bad. As you get to this point, it's still pretty rugged. And then you get down to the very bottom here, and this road empties out into this little bay here with mangroves all around. And this little line here, actually at this point, is a deeply potholed dirt road that empties out onto the beach. And from there you could drive along the beach if your vehicle will manage it. When Patty and I go here, we just park right down here because beyond that we really don't want to take her Tesla Model 3 because it really hasn't got a lot of clearance. These 5 lots here were all part of a piece, and our understanding is that the man and woman, husband and wife who owned all of that land passed away a few years ago, and they had 5 children who were of course all adults now. And what they did was simply divide it up into 5 parcels and then drew numbers out of a hat or something in order to get to decide who got which parcel. So they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have bought this one, parcel number 5. So let me scroll in a little bit more and show you parcel number 5. It is, and you might have gotten a glimpse of this from the reveal video, pretty overgrown. The grass will come up to almost to my waist, and there are lots and lots of trees and just undesirable trees here. So there's a lot to be cleared, simply because it needs to be cleared, but also so that we can get a good look at the lot. But this is the location, and we will access it down this road here, and we'll have to put a driveway in here. And I'll tell you. Well, actually, I might as well go through it in this order. We think that there may be access back here, and we're going to talk about that when we close on Monday. When we saw the property with our realtor, she seemed to believe that we had access to it this way as well. We drove down this driveway, which is also pretty potholed, and there was a gate here with a padlock on it. So I'm not sure that we can do anything with this access back here, but it would be nice because it would potentially save me the trouble of putting this driveway in down here. But one way or the other, we're going to get access into the lot and then build on it. To scroll in a little bit more, I'll explain some of the lines that you see here, all of the kind of spaghetti. First of all, the waterfront here. This picture makes the beach look sandier than it really is. It's truly it's a pretty heavy rock water line, and it gets into some finer sort of grit, but it's not very sandy here. So I don't know why the picture looks as good as it does. It's really not a white sand beach, I'm afraid, but it's a lovely beach. You'll notice that this line here is our property line, and it doesn't extend to the water. In Puerto Rico, depending on how you look at it, either no one or everyone owns the beaches. So all beaches are public. You can't deny access to the beaches to anyone, and that's fine. You'll also notice that there's a line behind that. It's easier to see on our neighbor's property here to the west. And this is sort of a setback, so you can't develop your property to that point or beyond that point, I guess. And you'd be an idiot to do so anyway, because you'd just be right on the water. So that's what that line is all about. The interesting element, I guess, of our property is this thing that looks kind of like a comma here, and we don't own that either. So the property line really kind of comes along here. It's a little odd. I'm surprised it doesn't connect here and here. It really comes along here, up and around, and back down again. And this, although it's tree covered, is in a lot of ways a smaller version of this. It is a little lagoon, a little cove that is not connected to the Caribbean there, but at high tide, and if the surf is up, it may actually break through and feed these coves. So this is just a little saltwater lagoon. Our neighbor's property to the east, that's a significant chunk of their lot. For us, it's really not much at all, and we see it as more of a feature than a bug. In fact, we're hoping to sort of develop that. But to that score, just as there is a setback that you can't disturb, there's a sort of setback here as well. So truly, this part is kind of like a conservation easement on the property. We don't own the lagoon itself, and we're not supposed to disturb it for, I think, about 20 meters in each direction, or maybe it's 20 feet in each direction. Not a big deal either way. So the house is probably going to go behind this, I imagine centered on the lot. It depends on soil tests and all the rest. And when I clear this out, this will be sort of something of we anticipate something of a feature in the middle of the front yard, looking to the water. Now, again, we're not supposed to disturb this. It's kind of in rough shape. There are trees down in it and limbs and down in it and all of the rest. And so I am going to clean this up a bit. I'm going to improve it. I want to improve the water there. I have seen crabs in the water. I saw an eel in the lagoon to the east of us. So it is supporting sea life there. And I'd like to develop that and turn it into certainly a more attractive, hopefully an attractive feature. The lot itself is largely, as you see, largely rectangular, and it's got this weird kind of access to the road where a driveway will be cut in. And of the 5 lots, only lot number 1 had access to the roadway because it abuts it. All of the others had to have access created, and in what I think was a tremendously stupid move, that's what they did. They just created these rectangles and then a long strip for a driveway, 4 driveways for 4 lots, and it would have made so much more sense to go ahead and put the driveway in up at the, across the top, all the way across the top, and then make your divisions, and then draw lots to see who gets which one. But at that point, all of them will have road access, and then it's not an issue. For us, as it turns out, we liked the property, but we told the owners, we said, we've got to put a long driveway in. And that's a tremendous expense, and the property's simply not usable until that driveway can be put in. So we reduced our offer from their asking price by a fairly significant amount, just because of the anticipated expense of the driveway. Now, the nice thing for us is, while we bought lot 5, which has the longest driveway, lots 4 and 3 also sold, I think, in the last couple of weeks. And so what I'm hoping, and I think both of them want to build on those lots, so what I'm hoping is the 3 of us can get together and we can put a single driveway in and figure out the cost that way. That would just make so much more sense. But clearly access is sort of first priority, and I suspect that's where I think it's just got to go there. I don't think we'll really be able to work from the back here. Now let's do some measurements. This CRIM website lets us do some measurements, which are fantastic. Nice feature here. So the overall size of the lot runs down to roughly that. So we've got about 7 acres in that rectangle. And then if you add the driveway area, which is it's pretty it's long and narrow, but there's a lot of long and narrow. You wind up with a little bit more than an extra acre there. So in total, I think it's 8.1 acres. But we've really got about 7 acres in that rectangle, and excluding the conservation easements and whatnot, we've probably got, I don't know, 6.25, 6.5 acres to work with, which should be plenty for us. Now, the Caribbean beach frontage is about 350 feet. And again, remember, we don't own that beach. We can't deny people use of that beach. It won't be a private beach, but that's the vista, at least that we've got. And it's just lovely. It's absolutely beautiful. From front to back, here's the shorter side, and this is about 765 feet, probably closer to 800 feet on the other side. So the lot is roughly 800 feet front to back, 400 feet side to side. Again, lots and lots of room to work with. In addition, the lot seems to be pretty, let me see if I can change this. There we go. It seems to be pretty flat, but again, I've got to clear all of that out. And then from the road in, for the driveway, 1,450 feet. So that's a lot of ground to cover. And the width here is about, I think it's about 30 to 35 feet. So quite a bit to cover. The initial goals for us are just that, opening it up a little bit so that we can see what's there. As Patty and I walked the property, it's pretty flat, but it's kind of difficult to tell since you can't really get the larger perspective. So we're going to be removing most of these trees. Some of them are fairly large, and I think will make very nice specimen pieces, but most of them, almost all of them are going. And we'll get rid of the grass. So I've got a chainsaw and a string trimmer. This is early November. Home Depot is running month-long Black Friday sales, I guess, and so I was able to get a Milwaukee chainsaw and a Milwaukee string trimmer, and those are on the way. Thank you, Nicole and Richard, for working that out. They know who they are. We couldn't get it. We couldn't buy it here in Puerto Rico because it's Puerto Rico. It's Home Depot, but it's Home Depot in Puerto Rico, and they just do everything differently. So we had to buy it, and then it was shipped, and then it's getting shipped back, continued onto us. It should get here in a few days. So when we close on this on Monday, we should be ready to go. So I'll probably spend a lot of quality time with the string trimmer to begin with. For the chainsaw, I think I'm going to leave, at least initially, leave a lot of those trees in place, but I'll probably take some of the limbs out. Again, it's just so that it opens up and I can see a little bit. But for much of this, where house is going to go, outbuildings might go, where orchards get planted, vegetable gardens, structures for working aquaponic or hydroponic vegetable growth, and I want to do both of those. I'm going to need to actually remove stumps and things. So I've got my eye on a used backhoe, and I think initially what I'll do is just try and clear it out as best I can, and then with the backhoe I'll come in and push trees over, dig them up, and move them all out. But that's that's going to take a little while, and I think I also probably want to negotiate with my neighbors for putting in a driveway that they can use. So why buy this piece of property? What is it that that excites us about it? First of all, 350 feet on the Caribbean. We never thought that would be really available for us. we understand that living on the water can cause, right on the water, can cause some real challenges, some real stresses. So I think a house is going to be built back. I think we're going to open it up so that we've got those views and we can walk right down to it, but we're not going to be right on the water. We're probably going to be 300 feet back, 400 feet back, something like that, to kind of mitigate some of those challenges, some of those problems. But it's beautiful. It's right on the water. It is generally flat. The other property that we were looking at, though it was 20 acres, was probably 15 acres more than we really needed, and we were just going to let it sit. And it was a steep hillside, and so to develop it like I will develop this property would require a lot of terracing. And this, I think, is just going to be much easier to kind of hit the ground running. It's also very quiet. It's a dead-end street. And yes, people use the beach, but they really don't use the beach like, you know, the sandy beaches of Playa Combate. So I don't expect a lot of, you know, of problems with that. And it's really just the right size for us. If it's 6 acres that we have to work with, I think for what Patti and I have in mind to kind of occupy us in retirement, this is just going to be perfect. So I'll scroll out a little bit more though, because the other reasons that we like it, first of all, the drive to get up to Mayagüez, if we want to go all the way to the kind of big city, is about as long. In fact, it might be a little bit faster from here than in Combate, because to get out of Combate is a very curvy road, and this is much more of a just straight shot. But this is also closer to Ponce, so if we wanted to go to the second largest city, it's also a fairly quick shot. But from our property, I like that. Okay, that's the driveway. So from our property here, one of the things I want to do is probably start building sea kayaks or maybe little dinghies, and because Patti wants to get on the water, but she's a little nervous about that and needs to move into it slowly. And paddling around in a sea kayak or a little 10, 12-foot dinghy is the way to go. And so we can do these kinds of excursions, if you wish. And to the west of us, this is Bahia Sucia, and this is the southwesternmost part of the island, and the lighthouse there, El Faro. And Playa Sucia is considered to be one of the more beautiful beaches in all of Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico's got lots and lots of beaches, so when this one comes up, and that's somewhat ironic because that means dirty beach, Playa Sucia, but it's reputedly a beautiful beach. Now, I think Playa Combate is beautiful, and so if folks say, no, Sucia is even better, this has got to be a gorgeous beach, and we can just hop in a kayak and paddle on over. And there are caves to explore and little quiet little sandy beaches tucked away that you can only get to by boats like this around the rocks here. So there's lots and lots for us to do to the west to enjoy the water. To the east, this town is Parguera. I'll scroll in a little bit more. And this is a sweet little town, frequently referred to as a quaint little fishing village. I don't know about that, but they do. There is something of a fishing business there, and in fact, this is where the fishermen work out of, right here. But there are all of these little keys, these Parguera keys, the town of Parguera, and some of them are just almost tiny little islands with white sandy beaches, and again, the only way you can get to them is in a boat. So hop on out. We can put picnic baskets in the boat, and out we go and enjoy the day on our own little private Caribbean micro island. And then beyond that, and I don't know how much of this we'll do. We might sneak over here one night. This area right here is a bioluminescent bay. I guess technically, given the structure of it, it's one bay, two bays, but it's a bioluminescent bay. And there are only 5 bioluminescent bays in the entire world. 3 of them are in Puerto Rico, and this is one of them. And what makes a bioluminescent bay is it's full of plankton, and it's a particular type of plankton that will, well, bioluminesce when they're disturbed, which means if you have a sea kayak or a little dinghy or whatever it is, and you take your boat or your kayak in here and row it around or paddle it around, it'll disturb the plankton, and the plankton will glow. They'll emit a blue-green light. And this is the only bioluminescent bay that you can swim in. So you go there in a new moon, cloudy sky, so that you don't have even the stars. It's just, you know, as black as it can possibly be. And you dive into the water, and you're just swimming in this blue-green light. So to the east of us, we've got Parguera, the town of Parguera, the Parguera Keys and the bioluminescent bay. To the west of us, we have Playa Sucia and the El Faro Lighthouse. And then folks have asked me about fishing. You know, Doc, have you gotten any fishing done? And it breaks my heart to say no. I mean, the name of this channel, after all, is Profesor a Pescador, Professor to Fisherman, and I haven't been able to get any fishing done. This is a great place for fishing. Getting off of the coast, you don't have to go very far off of the coast before you're actually off the shelf, and you're in hundreds of feet of water, and there you'll catch, you know, the big pelagic species. You'll catch tuna there, or billfish, or other sorts of things. But you can catch grouper, you can catch dorado, they're called here, mahi-mahi, you would probably know them as, or other species, wahoo and others. But all of these here are mangroves, and what you'll find in mangroves is something called a mangrove snapper. And if you've heard of snapper, if you know what a red snapper is, if you've ever had a red snapper, they're fantastic, they're absolutely delicious. And this place is just chock full of them. So yeah, there's going to be there's going to be lots of fishing going on here too. Anyway, in the immediate future, it's quality time with a string trimmer and a chainsaw as I begin to open this thing up. And again, I hope I can get a good deal on a used backhoe. We'll see. I hope somebody doesn't swoop in and buy it out from under me before I can. But more videos about the property will follow. Probably, you know, give me a couple of weeks or so to get to work on it. And again, it's going to be kind of cleaning it out, opening it up, taking a good long look at it, and looking for that damn drone. I hope you'll follow along as we begin sort of exploring our property and seeing just what we got ourselves into. If you want to do that, subscribe if you want, so you won't miss a video like this if you're so inclined. Share it with folks if you've got friends who've asked, hey, you know, what's Warner up to? What's Doc up to in retirement, or what's Patti up to in retirement? Let them know about this channel. And as always, if you've got questions, comments, just want to say hi, put it down in the comments on the video. If you want to know what about anything that I've talked about the fishing, about the farming, about the house, about the cove there, the saltwater cove, or anything else, let me know, and clearly I'll chat about it. We're tremendously excited. We cannot wait, and we're delighted to have you follow along with us. See you next time.